Welcome everyone to the Classic Nitro Steak Live for this month. I'm Kellen Nitro, joining you live on Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited, coming at you during Double or Nothing. Oh my God! Whoa, a wrestling channel on during the pay-per-view. Ooh, scary stuff. But you won't hear any AEW discussion whatsoever from us tonight. You won't even hear discussion about the WWE Night of Champions card that happened the day before either. Over in Saudi Arabia, because we're going to hit you with some retro goodness tonight. This is the Nitro Steak Live for the 1998 WWF King of the Ring in opinion and review. It's kind of cool how we do these shows because we have free people that kind of get together and talk. It's kind of like the Pro Wrestling Book Club. I myself, hardcore wrestling fan, for however long and that stuff. I'm going to bring in the lapsed wrestling fan and my buddy, Mr. TL. How you doing, sir?
Lapsed as always.
And the new old school wrestling fan, Mr. Craig Frazier, joining us as well. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fantastic.
That's great.
I'm like the sober for 10 years wrestling fan that's just recently gone and bought some crack.
Okay. Just decided to take a rip through the old hood and
Or my old dealer said, give me. I said, I need a hookup, and he's just like, oh, you're on Tylenol now, right? Because you're clean. I'd be like, no. He's like, meth. I'd be like, that's the spice.
Yeah. That's the spice of light right there. All right. Well, we got a small amount of housekeeping to do before this. I guess we should actually congratulate one Mr. Craig P. Frazier. As discussed in the June card, WWE, WWF live stream a few Saturday nights ago, we needed your votes to pick which cuisine will reign supreme, whose card was the best, and Frazier's won with half of the vote, 50% of the vote. So there you go.
As my first act as king of the vote, I decree that I am now King Craig and shall forever reign supreme. Forever.
Okay, King Craig. Well, we have Mr. TL. We can have King Craig. How's that?
I like this. This is good.
Well, if he's King Craig, then what am I?
Well, no.
I'll tell you what I am. I'm the ace, bitch. I'm the ace because you said that my card was better than yours. So if you win and mine was better, then I'm the ace over the king, bitch. That's how that works.
Nobody likes a sore loser. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
And no one likes a paper king.
People have decided.
This is a false king.
You know what? The people decided. They were the ones chanting my name.
Yes.
I'm CM Punk.
Yeah, and he does have the majority vote.
You are John Cena. You are everything you hate. You are the Ottawa Senators.
That one doesn't
I should have said the Montreal Canadiens, but whatever.
Yeah.
It was a golden shot. You missed it.
Whatever. Your kingdom is full of stupid people.
Fantastic people.
You had the open net and you rang it off the post, TL. What's going on?
Yeah. You are Patrick Stefan.
How dare you?
Oh, man.
Well, you are a Maple Leafs fan, so you have no say in terms of hockey disses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. And the Oilers fans should always get the last laugh. I mean, they're always
Yes, we should. Yes, we should. Full stop. End of the sentence. I'm gonna talk over you.
Even though it's the pot calling the kettle black. It's
who you calling black, motherfucker?
You know the expression I was using.
This is when I roll in with the Mean Gene and go, gentlemen, please. A little decorum here on the retro.
I still don't see how Oilers calling the Maple Leafs the kettle black, whatever, because
say it.
We can all agree. At least we're all not Calgary.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's right. So, anyways, yes, we look at this retro show for this month. It is the 1998 King of the Ring, one of the most infamous and famous WWF pay-per-views ever in company history. That took place on June 28th, 1998 from the Igloo in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now, folks, we did something a little different this time around. We had multiple sources for the guys to watch for this. So I, myself, and Craig Fraser here watched the original from 1998 WWF home video cassette version of the pay-per-view. Mr. TL had the access to the WWE Network version. And so he watched that for the pay-per-view. I kind of want to do this time around just to see if there's any difference between the two, especially with this era of pay-per-view, with the Attitude Era stuff, and see what sticks out and what doesn't. The first thing I'll ask Mr. TL is, did you have the blurring of the WWF logo at all on that one?
No, and I was actually shocked about that. They didn't blur out the WWF logo. Mm-hmm. They were saying WWF throughout the entire thing, unbleeped. And
nice.
The only thing that I was having like a question about was the music in the background, but I think they all linked up properly. I think they completely untouched this one.
I'll have to take a look at the WWF network version of it, and I can get back to you on the music bit. But it wouldn't surprise me that they kept all the original audio in, because I think the only time they ever messed with the audio with stuff on the network from the Attitude Era was if there was, say, a licensed song for a pay-per-view that they used. Like, you're not going to hear Saliva or Shine Down or something on the WWF network, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. That being said, was there an actual theme song for this?
There was not.
Okay, so it was generic-y.
It was all generic-y, Jim Johnson produced music. That's it.
Oh, okay. I think they put it on the network as is.
Cool. No, right on. That's great. So, this is an infamous show, and I wanted us to watch this one because it's it has very mixed reviews in the retro wrestling community across the board, and it's a very Jekyll and Hyde card. And we'll get to that as we roll it out, and we're going to roll it out right now. So, TL, let me know if there's something that we're skipping over from your version of the show that we're just rolling through, and that's something. Just interrupt us and just say, "Hey, no, on my version I had this."
Yeah, for sure. I'll let you know.
We'll do that way. So, and we can't forget this, of course. Woo, Undertaker! Yes, the Nitromaniac TV's Undertaker, with all the results and times from the 1998 WWF King of the Ring, is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And Craig is reading it very intently, much like a cat watching a bird out in the garden somewhere. Yeah, exactly. Just hiding behind that bush, just waiting to strike. That's all. Yes. So, So, like I said, we'll get into the show here. We had a really cool. Well, we had on our version, we had previews for upcoming WWF home video cassettes and that stuff and everything. And if Craig, if you ever for a lark wanted to watch any or all of them, let me know, because I think I have copies of all of them kicking around. So there we go. And we go right from that to a very cool classy Freddie Blassie voiceover hyping the pay-per-view, like the first blood match, the Hell in a Cell, everything in the opening video, and then right into Super Soaker presenting the 1998 King of the Ring. And this was the era of the Super Soaker bazookas. Yes, those massive giant water guns that held 10 liters of water and had like water shooting out at like 100 psi or something like that. You could just soak it. For
our American viewers, that's 2 gallons.
Yes, that's right. Very high pressured stuff. Did you guys? I had a couple growing up. Did you guys have those growing up? The Super Soakers?
I had the really pressurized ones. They were like purple and orange.
Mm-hmm.
And you could like really pump them, but like we would always pump them way too much to the point like you couldn't even pump it anymore, and you're like trying to like get the pump to go back in. and then you would use the pump as a bayonet against your younger brother. I mean,
charging over the garden.
We had it was like the Battle of Verdun. Like it was a massacre always.
Yes, there was that trend on Twitter a few days ago that was name a famous battle, and so Fraser was just posting photos from that. Maybe, I don't know. Yes, there we go. The bloodbath in Beaumont.
Indeed.
Yeah, there we go. We go into the pyro and the ballyhoo and that stuff. And guys, the pairing of announcers is over, at least for this one. We've had really weird pairings the past few shows of like Vince and Bobby and or Gorilla and Roddy Piper and Vince and Gorilla. This one, it's a classic team. It's Jim Ross. It's Jerry the King Lawler. Gentlemen, your thoughts on this tandem? Craig, I think we know from your all-time card that those are your guys. So I'll let you open up on those guys here.
Yeah, I mean, those are the guys that I listened to when I first started watching wrestling, and when I stopped watching wrestling, they were still the commentary teams.
Mm-hmm.
It was either them on Raw or Michael Cole and Taz on SmackDown when I was watching.
Yeah.
I like Taz on commentary. I know Botchamania, like they make fun of him a lot.
He's good. He's good.
Insipid Taz commentary.
He actually is making the pay-per-view that's on right now very interesting to watch. Listen to. His commentary is great. So
yeah, and I like Taz as a commentator. You know, he had that kind of Brooklyn toughness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Cole? You know what I mean, Cole? You know, but I mean, yeah, no, I think JR and King are, you know, to me they're the best ever. I mean, I know someone who someone who watched probably back in the 80s or something would be like, no, like they probably throw Gorilla in there with the brain Heenan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know that's Ty's pick probably, but
that's Ty's pick. Yes.
For me, I guess I can only go with what I watched and what I really know. And
yeah,
I mean, Gorilla and Bobby the Brain obviously very, very good. But I know I like the commentary during like the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression era. So yeah,
right on. And TL, your thoughts on the JR and King tandem here? They're right in their. This is right in their wheelhouse too. 1998. So.
Yeah, this is absolutely in their wheelhouse. This is where they shine the brightest. This is where they were most effective. That being said, looking back on it now, I never knew JR was so like mushmouth. Like I never really caught it before. Like Jerry's there to hit the little one-liners and the punchlines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And JR is supposed to be calling the action here and there. And he is so all over the place. Like you could hear like the sentences bouncing around in his brain like a stalled out DVD. And it just, sometimes it doesn't come out. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? Oh, there's a drop kick. There's another drop kick. I'm like, what? He slammed him. What the fuck are you talking about?
My God.
Like he was so like caught in the action. He didn't know what he was saying. It was hilarious.
Yep.
At some point. Actually, that was the most apparent when he didn't have Lawler because Lawler jumped in the ring to be a referee.
Yes.
And when you just left JR alone to his own devices, it was the strangest bit of commentary I've ever heard. I was like, damn, was he always this like bad?
He sounded lost during that match. Yes, he did sound lost during that match. We'll get to that here in a little bit. I think it's like a couple 2 or 3 matches in. We go into our opener, and this is a 6-man tag. It is the Headbangers and Taka Michinoku taking on Kai and Tai with Yamaguchi-san. And there's a still from that match. Let me just open up an extra window here because I have the results and the runtime right here. There we go. And it is 6 minutes and 44 seconds with the Headbangers and Taka getting the win. The Headbangers tag Taka in and press slam him onto Funaki and then finishes show with a Michinoku driver for the finish and a 1-2 freak out. And this is the beginning of the summer feud between Taka and whoever versus Kai and Tai, basically. That ends up with Taka joining Kai and Tai in the fall. So
yeah, so a bit of nostalgia for me. I was just kind of like, wait a second. Isn't Taka Michinoku supposed to be part of Kai and Tai? But I completely forgot that he was like against them to begin with until he finally joined in. And then you had the thing with Val Venus and the choppy OPP and all that stuff.
That's later on in the month, actually. This is between King of the Ring and Fully Loaded. That all rolls out. So there's some wacky stuff that happens immediately right after this pay-per-view that is very Attitude Era Vince Russo-y. So
but I gotta tell you, I just without any context, without having any reason for these guys battling each other. I'm like, why are they wrestling each other? What the hell is going on here?
It did, and that was exactly me. I'm the guy with no context because I had no idea who any of these people were. I've never watched them before, and I was like, all right, this is happening. It seemed like I didn't know if the Headbangers had been a very established tag team at this point. It seemed like this was trying to like maybe push them or something, but like it just seemed like they were combining the Rockers and the Bushwhackers into one team.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I mean, some good wrestling, some good moves in this match, like the spot with the press slam, like that was really good. I enjoyed that. But I mean, yeah, like at the end of this match, I was like, all right, I guess that was a warm up.
It blew me away that it blew me away that the Headbangers could work the light heavyweight style, because you think of them, or at least I do, as kind of, you know, heavyweight almost job guys a little bit. After they had one tag team title run in late '97, and then basically for the rest of the run in WWF, they were just job squad dudes until they split in like early '99 or so. But yeah, they could wrestle the light heavyweight, and this is actually a better fit, I find, for them wrestling the light heavyweight likes of Kai and Tai and that stuff. You know, maybe too much as well in that era, and it looked a lot better with them in the ring with that than going against like a super powerful team like the LOD or something like that, you know. So.
I gotta say, but from Craig, if you've never seen this before, like I'm used to this, I've seen them before.
Yeah,
this is Mosh and Thrasher, and I've seen like their punk get up and they're, you know, moshing against each other and stuff like that in the middle of the ring.
Yeah,
what the hell is that like for you? Never seen this act before.
I kind of was just like, I got it. I'm like, these guys are like these punk rocker dudes. Like they're walking around like they're, you know, on like, I don't know if like maybe whoever was on the writing team was from England that was in like the punk scene in the 70s. It was just like I remember the Sex Pistols. Or you guys are just gonna go out there and be like, you know, typical South London punks and just go around with like the spinning like taunts and stuff like that. I was just like, oh, that's right out of like a Clash concert. So like, I guess that's what they're going for. But I was like, I don't know, like I got it. I got the shtick. I who's the guy with them? Like I had no idea the backstory and all that. But so
Taka?
Like I didn't
Taka Michinoku was the WWF's only real answer to anybody that was in the cruiserweight division of WCW at that time.
That's right.
And to be fair, he couldn't hold a candle to any of those guys.
No.
Because at that time they had Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Juventud, Dean Malenko, and it goes on and on of these amazing cruiserweights.
Yeah.
That Taka would have got eaten alive if he was over there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he'd be lucky to do matches on Saturday night, WCW Saturday night, if he was over there compared to
absolutely.
You know what it was. But yeah, the one thing, well, actually two things about Taka that you need to know is that a lot of people use his finisher as a move, a setup move, or a finish nowadays. The Michinoku driver.
Yeah, Michinoku driver is a pretty cool move.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that the one they call a Falcon Arrow now?
Sometimes.
Sort of, kind of. The Falcon Arrow, the guy kind of, the guy receiving it kind of lays out more on the back than anything else, whereas the Michinoku driver was kind of more like almost like a cradle pile driver type thing. So that's that. But it's and for whatever reason, a lot of the independent talent, especially the light heavyweight, cruiserweight, smaller wrestlers, cite Taka Michinoku as a major influence. I don't get it either, but okay.
Like I said, there's a list of cruiserweights ahead of him. I don't know how he became the inspiration for anything.
I don't know. I think it's just probably a lot of people grew up with WWF TV and not WCW TV.
Yeah,
but we had access to both here, so I mean,
I never watched WCW. I mean, I guess I kind of jumped into wrestling just at the end of WCW.
Right.
That makes sense.
But like, I never watched. Yeah, like I remember
you didn't miss much.
I do remember.
Yeah, the good stuff was gone by the time you jumped in.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I do remember playing the WCW NWO Revenge N64 game.
Yeah.
With Sting in the beginning, stopping the guy in the truck. Oh God! And he's just like, it's the worst video. It's just Sting on the road, and the guy goes, ah! I'm like, why? He's just standing there. Anyways,
but he's standing there. The barrels are on fire, and he goes,
what?
Yeah.
Actually, if we gave Craig a white wife beater, he with the current haircut, he looks like the guy behind the wheel.
Oh yeah, the driver. Yeah.
What? Oh no!
Who's this? Because like for me, I'd be like, it's Sting. Why is he here? Why are you not wrestling in the arena?
You
Yeah,
can
man,
do
that
it the
was a cool
full Tony
intro.
Schiavone. It's Sting!
It's Sting.
It's Sting! Yeah,
Hey, man,
so
that was
there
a cool intro for 1997 for an N64 game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a lot of fun and that stuff. So, yeah. So
Let's
there we
move
go.
on. We spent too much
We're
time on
mov-
a goddamn Takamichi no match.
Yeah, exactly. So we go to ringside, and it sounds like they're hyping the next match, which would be Al Snow and Head versus Too Much. But all of a sudden, Sable's music hits,
Oh,
and Sable
me.
walks out. This is another 1998 phenomenon: is how hot Sable was, popular wise, and also I don't know physically if you're attracted to that. So, and a lot of people were.
Did she already do the Playboy shoot at this time?
That's coming. That's 1999. That's the winter of 99. Yeah, she had not. No, not at this point. So, and then she does that, and then she leaves the company in early summer of 99. So about May, June, she files the sexual assault lawsuit against somebody there. I can't remember who, and then leaves. So.
All I gotta say is, she never looked young, did she?
No.
She's always looked
surprisingly
like she's about late 30, 40 years old.
Yeah,
it's striking.
She has one of those faces with like the no shape and everything. I know what that's like because like I remember being like 24 and people being like, "Are you like 34?" I'm like, "No." and like I look good now because like my face is like appropriate for my age.
Yeah.
But like when I was 22, people are like, they're like, "Oh, I thought you were older." Right. And I think she just has one of those faces. Like I thought she's very beautiful. I mean, I know what Brock Lesnar does, but but
exactly right.
I mean, like, I think she just had one of those faces where she just had a more mature kind of brow and like the nose. Yeah. I think she's probably in her late 20s, early 30s.
I would say close to mid 30s or so.
What?
There,
no,
maybe.
Yeah,
no early to mid 30s.
She's in her mid 20s here.
Yeah, so like she was like 27, 28, like I believe.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah.
She looks 10 years older than what she is.
But I get it. She looks like she's like in her early 40s.
First of all,
you're gonna sex it up for us, right?
And first of all, you look like you was 34 when you were 14 because you were like a foot taller than everybody, just full of farmer strength.
Farm boy strength.
Yep.
It's the Ukrainian and genetics and the Scottish genetics. It's just big bones and gruffness.
Yeah.
But it's just that's the thing. But I don't know. But I think that's the thing too, is just like even if you took like a woman that was like 25 and like you put her in more like younger clothing, she would probably look younger.
Yes.
But if you put her in like a full spandex or full leather, cat suit kind of a thing.
Much like this, yes.
Yeah, of course she's gonna look more mature and everything.
Here's why I disagree. If you put Sunny at this time in that exact same suit, she would look younger and sexier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I agree with you.
Also just all the way that because like Sable has that very kind of like serious kind of like Vogue almost look going, whereas like Sunny had this kind of like bubbly young girly thing going.
Yeah, the girl next door. Look,
yeah,
Sunny was the girl. Sunny was the girl next door, and Sable was the shall we say
25-year-old
professional.
I said 25-year-old cougar, and she looked dead in the face because of the bow tie. Or whatever they were shooting in her head in the 90s. It's probably plutonium.
White collar versus blue collar. Even with the women back then.
We spent way too much time on this for some reason.
We did. Hey,
I was gonna say, this was like a really pointless point of her to go out there, and then just Vince McMahon shows up and goes, "Wow, everybody here sucks."
Yeah. What was that?
She's on the event poster, and she only gets not even 2 minutes worth of airtime. It ends up she introduced Mr. McMahon, and the Stooges walk out, of course, Patterson and Briscoe. She goes to leave the ring, and Patterson gives her a sportsman across the backside, and she goes around and slaps Patterson.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like of all the people to give her a smack, it's the gay man.
Which is probably why why Patterson was allowed to give her a smack across the back end. Yes. the humor was not lost on me there. I laughed when I saw it. I was like, oh my
behind the
god.
scenes, maybe Sable just kind of like trusted him more because she knew. I don't know. Some people,
Yeah,
like,
I think
people knew.
he was fairly open about it at that time, so it's it's fine, whatever. But
what a pointless segment that should have been on a Raw or Heat.
It is, because all it is just McMahon talking. And as you see throughout McMahon's promo, Briscoe is fussing over Patterson, trying to make sure his face is fine and that stuff. And checking his jacket out and making sure his tie's on straight and the whole deal. I had a lot of comedy watching them than anything else. But yeah, it's just a more, I hate Austin, and I'm establishing why I hate Austin, and Austin will lose tonight because Kane says he'll win. If he doesn't, Kane will be set on fire. Blah blah blah.
Which they've said a million times already. He didn't have to go to the ring to reiterate.
We noticed steps. Yes, they've hit on this. About 3 or 4 times already in the first 30 minutes.
And it wasn't just I hate Austin, Kane's gonna win. It was you people like Austin. Well, you're idiots too. And you're going to be disappointed because you're already disappointments. Like you're a disappointment to your parents, and they were disappointments too. So everybody here is going to be disappointed. I'm like, okay.
I also just want to point out how ridiculous. Like, this is also like why sometimes I love wrestling, and I shake my head at the people that just can't get over like, oh, what's fake, right? And I'm like, this guy was going to set himself on fire. If he lost, his terrible voice bar. If I lose the title, I'm like, how are you not? I'd be crying laughing. I was like, Kane was terrifying at this time. Remember?
Yeah. Well, we're all scared because we're all
children,
9, 10, 11, 12 years old, right? So that's scary stuff.
But I get if I was 30 at this time watching this, I'd be like, what is this? And he's just gonna torch himself in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, the guy who was the fake Diesel not even a year ago is going to set himself on fire. Well, if I had that career arc, I would too, I guess.
But also, it's like, so what? Like on Austin's point of view, it's like, well, if you set your dumb ass on fire, so
there's one less. What? Yeah, it's one less contender. It's fine.
Like, I don't understand.
Dealt with him.
The logic in that didn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like, if I'm Austin, I'm like, oh, son of a bitch, do I want to see this guy on fire? Oh yeah, I'd like to see that. Oh, okay, I'll beat your ass and you can set yourself on fire.
Why not?
So
because I thought the stipulation was kind of dumb personally, I thought a better angle would have been if Austin wins, he sets Kane on fire, and you could do like the Inferno match spot. I don't know. Had they already did the Inferno match?
They did a couple matches or a couple months prior at Unforgiven in your house, and Kane was set on fire there. He lost the Undertaker.
So, and that could be the thing is like, you could still do something to like get out of the whole stipulation thing at the end of the match, but like it could have been one of those things where it's like if Austin loses, like Kane wins the title, but then Kane gets to set Austin on fire, and that's how you must burn yourself. Now there's a little bit more weight on it. But what you could do with it is make it like I don't know, I guess they already did the Hell in a Cell before, but if you did like I guess the First Blood is an okay stip, but in the sense that maybe you still kind of ended in the way that it did, where you have the outside interference, but you at least carry a little bit more weight into the match because it's like either Austin wins or Austin loses, and Austin just loses. Okay, and that's kind of how the pay-per-view went. So I think that's why a lot of people say there's a little bit of a dry fart ending. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to all of that, yes.
And like I said, this will always be my issue with the stupidity that is Vince Russo. Mm-hmm. Is like, shouldn't it be enough that Kane's fighting for a championship?
Yeah.
What the hell is this? Set myself on fire.
His build prior to the match he lost at Unforgiven was he was the only person to have beat him in the ring was Undertaker, and in fact that continued at Over the Edge to the next month's pay-per-view in May, where he beat Vader in a one-on-one match. So the only guy to have beaten Kane is his brother. Everybody else has fallen to this dude. So yeah, you should have been building him like Goldberg. Just saying,
Yeah, just do it that way instead of I don't know, this whole fire. I hate Vince Russo so goddamn much.
A Goldberg that can actually work.
Yeah.
A guy that can actually handle 15 or 20-minute matches, you know?
Yeah.
But to catch us up on where we are in this pay-per-view, Sable comes out, introduces Vince McMahon. They throw her out of the ring. She slaps what's his face on the way on Patterson before she leaves.
Yeah.
He does a useless promo, and that's the end of that.
That's the end of that. Yes. And then we see. Oh, by the way, a lot of TL. You like this? A lot of old school Pittsburgh Steelers at ringside during this thing too.
It was a few Pittsburgh Steelers, but also the boxing WBC at the time heavyweight champion of the world, Michael Moore, was ringside, which they alluded to once and then never again.
Like the filmmaker?
No, the
filmmaker won the WBC championship of the world and then lost it to George Foreman.
Who?
The grills guy, the guy that made the grills.
Yeah, the guy that made the grill. You young bastards.
I'm just trying to set you off, Ty.
You don't need much. You don't need much.
As we found out for the last pay-per-view where he got set off by just clowns and kings fighting one-on-one with each other.
Stupidest shit ever. Let's move on. I don't want to get into another
before, yes. Okay. By the way, they replay that replay of Sable getting her rear end slapped by Patterson an unhealthily amount of times in a very short amount of time there. But anyway, so we jump right into the King of the Ring bracket. So this is what it looked like the Raw prior, or towards the end of the Raw prior, I should say, the Go Home Raw to the King of the Ring that year. So you had Ken Shamrock defeating Mark Henry in a quarterfinal match. He'll take on Double J Jeff Jarrett, which is the match that's upcoming, who defeated Mark Merrow. And then you have The Rock defeating Triple H under nefarious means because DX and the Nation are at war at this point, and so they're feuding. And Dan Severn beating Owen Hart. So you have, in the second match, The Rock taking on Dan Severn, but in this first match upcoming, we have Ken Shamrock taking on Double J Jeff Jarrett in a King of the Ring semifinals matchup. The runtime for this thing was 5 minutes and 29 seconds, and it's basically Jarrett trying to do the whole Double J shtick with Tennessee Lee on the outside, who was his answer to Jimmy Hart, or it's Colonel Robert Parker from the WCW days. And what had happened there is all of a sudden Jarrett is gloating in the corner, and all of a sudden ankle lock. That's it. Tap out. And Shamrock moves to the King of the Ring final, and he is focused in the post-match interview with Michael Cole. This match served its purpose. It's what it's supposed to be. It's a semifinal. I don't think at the time there was a lot of people that were like, "Oh, Double J is going to beat Ken Shamrock." It's not going to happen. I think a lot of people were looking at the semis here and were thinking WWF is going to try and rip off the UFC here and have Severn and Shamrock in the final of their King of the Ring.
Yeah, that's what everyone wanted. And the WWF did not deliver that for some reason.
They did not. We'll get into that a little bit later on here.
My only takeaway from this match is Jeff Jarrett just... fuck me.
We're recording this right after I watched the Jeff Jarrett match at Double or Nothing. So
he's always had the same effect on me when I was a kid to today. And you just hear the first twang of his, and you're just like, oh, fucking hell.
Well, now it's not even that. It's the
not TNA this jag-off. Yeah. But it's been the same reaction ever. It's just, eye roll. Not this jag-off. And that's always been my reaction to Double J. And this was no different. So, I mean, if you want to give him credit for that's what he gets the reaction that he wants, which is, this fucking jag-off. He got it.
I think that's the reaction he gets. I mean, that's the worst thing that could happen is his guitar plays and everybody just kind of sits there like, oh. Yeah. But the fact that people go, oh, for fuck, like that's funny. That's right.
Is it though? Because I genuinely don't want to see him. I'm just like, ugh, not this fuck. It's like go away. It's go away heat. It's always been go away heat.
It's not as bad as X-Pac heat from a few years
later. Oh boy, does that come up later? Wow,
that
was some good shit.
It's not as bad as X-Pac heat, but it's close to.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
And the other takeaway was Shamrock was jacked.
Oh, dude. Absolutely.
He was not going to beat a piss test in the UFC at this time.
Oh,
No.
no. He
No.
was. I saw him when he came out. I was like, yeah, that guy is not like. It's like he went into the Kentucky Derby stables and just took all the horse pills, just all of them.
So you take a still frame of him from that match. I should have done this. You take a still frame of him from that match and put a still frame of him in '95 when him and Severin had that legendary UFC fight, whatever UFC that was. I think 8 or something like that, and they were the finalists of that one. And compared it to, and it's two completely different body types for sure, because the UFC Ken Shamrock just looked like an in-shape dude who could fight. Okay, great. The WWE version of Ken Shamrock was, holy crap, here's the HGH.
Big time growth hormone.
Exactly. So, and so the expected man won this one.
That was my only takeaway from that whole thing was, God damn it, Jeff Jarrett, and holy shit, Shamrock looks almost Lesnar big, but not quite.
Yeah. It'd be cool, like if we're faking all-time cards and that stuff. You take Shamrock from '98 and put him against Lesnar now.
Oh, Lesnar would have killed him.
Oh, probably still, but it, the wrestling clinic would have been amazing between the two.
Well, how big was Ken Shamrock? Like, he wasn't a full-on heavyweight, was he?
He was. He was like probably just a tick above the light heavy. Maybe a little bit at his heaviest.
I think if they had the weight classes back then, he would be light heavyweight, which is what he did
maybe,
fight when they eventually did get the weight classes, and he would fight Tito Ortiz. But like by that time, Ken's like late 30s, mid 40s, or whatever.
He's past his peak. Yeah,
way past.
Yeah, he's 6'1". He's like 6'1", 215. Basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. He'd be a light heavyweight. But good Lord, was he a heavyweight here?
He was beefy.
Like,
That's a beefy boy.
He got knocked out by Kimbo. That was in Bellator. Let me go to like his like UFC. Like, he lost to Dan Severn.
Yep.
Vegeta, like Don Fry. There you go. So like he lost to Don Fry. So if he lost, if he lost to Don Fry, like I think Lesnar would obliterate him.
Oh, probably yes, absolutely. Apparently Lesnar and Fry had a match in Japan for New Japan at one time. I got to go and check that out and see.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
By the way, if you guys want some like a quick listen or whatever on YouTube. There's a podcast where there was Severin, Fry, and Shamrock.
Oh,
and they discussed their little bit of time in WWF, including the night of where Owen passed.
Yeah,
because Shamrock was right behind. He was in Gorilla waiting.
Yeah, because his match was like next on the yeah.
So they talk about that a little bit. It's a quick little 15-minute thing on YouTube. Go check it out.
I gotta check that out definitely.
Wow.
Nice suggestion. Yeah, definitely go do that, everybody. It's good stuff. So we got then the next King of the Ring semifinals matchup. Okay, so we have The Rock with Godfather and Mark Henry taking on Dan the Beast Severin. Hello, 1998 matchmaking. The runtime for this one is 4 minutes and 25 seconds. And it's basically a distraction job by the Nation, and D'Lo Brown hits the ring and debuts the brand new chest protector that he would be wearing throughout the rest of 1998 and his infamous European Championship run, which is to come later on in the summer. But he nails the frog splash on Dan Severin, allowing The Rock to get the 1-2 free count. The storyline being that Severin basically ripped D'Lo's pecs in the qualifying match in the first round.
And from that point forward, D'Lo Brown always wore that chest protector.
Yep. Even in TNA.
Yep. For the rest of his career, he wore that chest protector. That's right. Part of his outfit.
Yep.
I just like how this match was like The Rock versus my high school football coach. Basically. It just looked like they got some angry guy down at the bar that was like, You wanna fight tonight in the match? And he's like, yeah, I'll fucking do it. He's like, who do I have to fight? I don't give a shit who he is. He's like, well, it's this guy. His name's Dwayne Johnson. He's The Rock. He's an up and comer in the business. He's like, I hate his haircut.
Yeah,
I'll fight him.
Basically. Wearing your dad's t-shirt with the caked with sweat. It looks like he's been working in the yard all day.
Came out like my dad who just cut the grass.
Yeah, exactly. God God damn, it's hot out there.
I'm not gonna kick the shit out of this guy.
Yeah.
See that, and that's the thanks, Shawn Michaels. No, but, that's perception is reality, because like back then I know who Dan Severn was.
Yes.
And as soon as his music hit and he comes out, you're like, holy fuck.
Yep.
It's Dan Severn. Like I've
that
seen
music was boss level, by the way.
Yeah.
That is some badass music he had.
It was. And so like for someone who doesn't know who he is, it's like, okay, I guess it looks like a dad who just mowed his lawn coming out there. But for anybody who had watched like early UFC or who knew who Dan Severn was, it's like, holy shit, he's gonna take on The Rock.
Yeah.
And then shenanigans happens. It's a very short match, and then we don't get Shamrock for Severn, which is what everyone wanted.
No, we get the repeat of the Intercontinental title match from the Rumble earlier that year, which was Rock versus Shamrock.
And funny enough, Severn and Shamrock would never get to wrestle each other in WWF or ever again.
They never
never
I don't think ever touched at all in WWF.
Ever
they
again.
Were booked to fight each other, and they never jumped on that. They were signed to be booked to fight each other at one point. They just never found. They never decided to pull the trigger on it.
Yep.
It's kind of like Flair and Hogan, but just
well, on a smaller level. But
on a smaller level, yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say, I wonder if they wanted to avoid putting them together because they
don't want money.
Well,
yeah. It wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
I understand that the thing was to let them go at each other. Like I agree, but I'm trying to find a way of why they wouldn't have put it together, and I think it's just maybe they thought they weren't going to draw enough, which I don't know why they would think that. But
of all the things that they put on their fucking show, and that's the thing that's not going to draw, get the fuck out of here, Russo.
Exactly.
And that's probably why it was. It's probably Russo's fault.
Yeah,
exactly. Come on, bro. Who are these two guys? Nobody knows him. He looks like he just mowed his lawn. Oh, that's what it was.
Probably. Like, Russo didn't know anything about combat sports or anything, didn't he? He got into wrestling.
But yet you're holding a combat tournament, and you have two people who have excelled in combat tournaments in your combat tournament. Mm-hmm. Why would they not meet in the fight? I just, but the argument on that, the other side though, is you're building The Rock, which you are. You
already built The Rock. He's the leader of the nation. Already threw out Farouk.
And you're feuding him with DX, and there's no DX members. Like it's not like he's fighting Triple H in the final. You've already exhausted that card to get a rating on like the Monday night a couple Mondays before. So,
and given that, spoiler alert, Shamrock wins.
Yeah.
In the end, why did you put him over The Rock? Were you trying to build him?
Yeah.
Why not just have it against Severn if you were going to make Shamrock win anyways? It was fucking ridiculous.
Have Shamrock get his revenge on Severn for the UFC loss.
Yeah, or do anything with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Exactly. Nope. I'm with you there. I am totally with you there. This is a definite missed opportunity. Now, things were cooking on a higher level with WWF at the time that of course swims under the net and gets out. But I can totally see that. So,
oh God, is what coming up next? Is it what I think it is?
I've got it is unless you want to talk about the post-match promo from The Rock. Where
he says like three things and that's
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing.
There's nothing there. So, handicap match coming up next. We've got Al Snow with Head versus Too Much. Now, I have this listed as a handicap match. I know that on the match listings it says Al Snow and Head versus Too Much, but I'm sorry, this is booked as a handicap match to me. I just whatever. We get a pre-match vignette on Al Snow. Yes, he had just recently jumped over from ECW, and they were working this gimmick where he has to meet with Vince. He has to talk to Vince about something, and has to get that meeting with Vince McMahon and whatever. And he doesn't have in storyline a WWF contract per se. So if he beats Too Much, he gets the meeting with Vince, which we presume is talking about a WWF contract deal.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but so we have well, we'll get the runtime for this thing first, and then we can just quickly discuss this deal here. It is 8 minutes and 26 seconds, and the finish is it's a Russo joke that kind of I watched that recently, and I'm just like, Brian Christopher attaches a bottle of Head and Shoulders to Head and covers it for a free count. At the same time, Al Snow has hit the snowplow on Scott Taylor. And so you're thinking that, okay, there's a pinfall for Snow. He gets his meeting, whatever. Nope, it's the pinfall on Christopher for the 1-2 free count. And yes, Jerry the King Lawler is the guest referee. I would be remiss not to mention that.
Ty has something to say about this.
No, go ahead, Craig. Go ahead.
I didn't like this match either.
No.
I mean,
it's weak.
It's weak, and I think that was I didn't look into it enough. Like I didn't know that this was like a Russo booked. He was booking at this time, and
yeah. This is Russo big time.
That explains a lot for me. So that. Yeah, I remember watching this, and I was just like, you really could have done something better with these guys, especially if you're trying to build Christopher at that time.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Al Snow too.
And Al Snow, yeah. And Al Snow is like, a really good worker. I mean, he does wrestling schools and training. He goes around and stuff. Like he's a pretty wise, good talent. And so it's like I really think he could have done something that could have built both characters and build something to maybe a future pay-per-view or something like that. I don't know. I just the Head and Shoulders gimmick. I was just like, oh my god.
Al was main eventing ECW pay-per-views not even a month prior to this too, by the way.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. This is just another WWF having a diamond, and they're like, well, maybe we just throw this into the pit.
Yeah, and see what happens.
And not only that, they are in Pittsburgh. ECW is in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you see a bunch of ECW guys in the front row of the audience.
And that's why you also get the ECW chants at various points in this contest. And this is, I think, also why they threw him in this feud with Lawler, because Lawler had that ongoing feud with ECW and it would go back and forth and stuff like that. But if you're going to do that, why not make it Al Snow versus Jerry the King Lawler? If Snow wins, he gets the meeting with Vince McMahon. If not, then bye-bye.
Because Russo wanted to do this bullshit where you put a Head and Shoulders bottle on a mannequin's head saying that you get the pin on it.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Al Snow tagged in Head, the dumbass.
Yeah. Head got the hot tag. It wasn't any tag. It was a hot tag. It was a Rock and Roll Express.
This was a head tag.
Hot tag. It was boom.
And he gave her the head tag, apparently.
The head tag, yeah.
Got to use it as a weapon to beat people. And good Lord, Jerry the King Lawler being announced as the referee right before this, and he's like, ah! And he runs in the ring and like an idiot.
And, we've had some really bad Lawler matches lately.
Yeah.
Where's like the old days?
Wow.
Yeah, like Lawler's also the guy that fought Andy Kaufman. Like it didn't.
Yeah. Exactly.
And made money out of it and made it work. This didn't draw a dime.
Yeah.
This took a very hot crowd. That was very noticeable. Was Pittsburgh was a hot crowd that time, and just whittled them down little by little. But I feel like they did that for a reason. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna want to stick around. Just wait. We're gonna get you simmering a little bit later. We need you to calm down first because we got some shit coming."
Yeah, I think
give him.
There's
But this, oh God, what the hell was this? The only nostalgic part of this is that Too Cool didn't have their like funky intro yet with Rikishi.
No, they were still too much at this time. They had not found their gimmick yet. They were still
Scotty was he was not Scotty Too Hotty yet. He was still Scott Taylor.
Yeah.
Who had no personality.
Scott Too Hot Taylor. Well, his personality was basically the chameleon, being a chameleon of Brian Christopher, and just being just the blonde version of Brian Christopher at this point.
Who's nothing, anyways. And they always like deny that that's Jerry the King Lawler's son for some reason. Jerry that was like, oh, he's a great talent, and they just always deny that that's your kid out there.
Yeah, basically.
This was a waste of time. It felt longer than it did. It went nowhere, and nothing ever happened because of it.
Yes.
This is just a complete waste of everyone's time and money.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So there we go. Well, that's enough to say about that one. I believe my picture is frozen, but we're just going to keep going.
Yeah, I was just you froze.
I have froze right up. So, all right. But anyways, we'll keep going here. You all can still hear me, and it's all good. We're going to jump ahead with the next contest here, and it is a one-on-one contest. It was X-Pac versus Owen Hart, and of course, X-Pac's got China in his corner, and the runtime for this thing is 8 minutes and 30 seconds, with the finish being Owen putting X-Pac in the sharpshooter. The shenanigans on the floor distract the ref. It allows China to DDT Owen, and X-Pac covers for the win. In 8 minutes and 30 seconds.
I'm trying to remember. Does Mark Henry try to influence the match, but then Vader comes out and they fight off?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not at the very beginning, but it does happen. Yes.
And that gives China the opportunity behind the referee's back to give the DDT, and that gives whatever.
Yeah.
X-Pac heat. So this is what this is all about.
Okay, explain.
Where DX is one of the hottest properties in WWF at the time. But X-Pac comes out with his own version of the theme song, because everyone in DX kind of did.
Yeah.
When they come together, they get the regular GX entrance.
Yes.
But on X-Pac on his own, he gets his crappy, make some noise, X-Pac. That's stupid entrance.
It sounds like the guy from Rage Against the Machine.
Yes,
and
that's
Homer,
what it was supposed to be.
And Homer Simpson are doing a duet when you do that.
Yeah, when I did it, yes.
Yeah, make some noise, X-Pac. This is
X-Pac.
Yeah.
Like Axl Rose and Homer Simpson, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You will make some noise.
X-Pac.
Don't know. Russell.
You think you could tell us what to do?
Yeah, basically.
Just the worst theme song ever. And he was easily the least popular character in all of DX. Just the worst. This is X-Pac heat, where people don't care that he's there. They don't care that he exists. He's just such a non-factor.
Yeah.
Forget that's the X factor, that he's a non-factor.
Yeah, it is. I've looked at a few other reviews of this show and that stuff, and they've said that this match, surprisingly, now these are other reviewers and that stuff, is if nothing happens out of the ordinary in the Taker Mankind match, this match is match of the night.
Yuck. I'm
like, that's a kind of balk on that one.
But... And also, no, it very isn't.
Yeah, very much so. There's a better matchup coming. The King of the Ring Finals is better, in my opinion, than this. But I
think this had potential to be the match of the night.
It did. Yes. Yeah.
I think because X-Pac maybe as a character, but as a worker, I'm thinking of the 1, 2, 3 Kid beating Razor Ramon, right? You could have really had I think the interference of Mark Henry and the Vader thing, it took away from it.
Of course.
And obviously you have shenanigans with China. That's what she's there for. She's the outside enforcer still at this time. She's doing her thing. But I feel that you could Owen Hart and Sean Waltman both in the ring, those kinds of talents.
Yes.
It's one of those things where it's I think there was from that first one we did where you had Kerry Von Erich and as the Texas Tornado and Rick Martel, and you had all these other guys in the ring, and they're just doing this stupid gimmick during the Royal Rumble, and I'm like, you could have really had some awesome spots with this.
Yeah.
But I felt like they did an 8-minute Vince Russo has all over this, and now that I know Russo has been booking, I'm
get it through and that stuff, and exactly.
I was disappointed because I was just Owen Hart in the ring is rarely disappointing, right. And I think X-Pac when he's not on amphetamines, when he's in the ring, it's also really good. And I think that it's disappointing that this match didn't really what I thought it was going to be.
Well, yeah, because these two have had excellent matches years previous when Owen was the Rocket or he was the King of Hearts, whichever. And I think he had a King of the Ring opening match against 1, 2, 3 Kid.
It did. Back in 1994, they had a semi-final matchup. That was the year that Owen won the King of the Ring in 94.
Yeah.
And ironically, the match started hot there too, the same way. This match starts with what is it? Waltman nailing Owen with a plancha on the outside. In 1994, it was the other way around. Owen nailed 1-2-3 Kid with a plancha on the outside.
And that 94 match was like, it was short, but it was spectacular.
It was a
like
great match.
These two can go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, here, X-Pac is a little bit older. He switched companies and come back. He's a lot more drugged up. Everyone hates him. And yeah, this sucked.
Yes. Yeah, it's not their best one. No, definitely not. Definitely not. And the only thing it really accomplishes, if anything, is it's still cements in everybody's mind. Okay, the Nation and DX have a rivalry. Great, whatever. You know, we see that on Monday nights every Monday night during this era. So
the only other noticeable thing was that Owen kind of has his own version of the Nation theme song.
He does, yes. Yeah.
I didn't realize that back then. It's like
he also is dressed up like caution tape, which is hilarious to me. But
is the danger man.
He went from becoming the self-proclaimed 2-time Slammy Award winner to the self-proclaimed world's most dangerous man that summer.
And then him and Shamrock had a beef because of that.
Yes. And that wraps up at SummerSlam 98 with the Lion's Den match, which is kind of like the fight pit they have now, but yeah.
Less said about that, the better.
Yep. Exactly. So there we go. Yeah, we ran into time there. So okay. We jump ahead, and one of Craig's favorites hits the ring. It's Paul Bearer. And
yeah, you're getting better at that.
Yes. It's not necessarily Kane's alive or anything like that, but it's basically more
omen.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's just Bearer basically walking out and saying he's not responsible for the damage Kane does to Austin tonight, and he is going to win, or he'll again set himself on fire. Which you've beaten us over the head with the stipulation already, and we're not even 90 minutes into the freaking pay-per-view. We understand that. Yes, if the big red guy doesn't win, he's going to become a big orange guy. We got it. No problem.
They were overwatering the stipulation here.
Definitely, yes.
Like you guys were drowning right now. We get it. Fire.
Yeah. What did you think of that Paul Bear segment? What did you think of that Paul Bear segment?
I mean, I like Paul Bearer as a promo. I like him better as the Taker advocate than the Kane advocate. I didn't understand a lot of the Kane advocate Bearer stuff. I almost would have preferred, honestly, what would have been better if I was to rebook the 97-98 debut and everything like that. As like, yes, Kane's alive, Undertaker, but have like Paul Bearer almost like run away because he's afraid that Kane's coming. Have Kane fucking like kill Paul Bearer. Like Kane shows up by himself.
Wow.
Rips the cage floor off, right? Tombstones the Undertaker, and then have like the lead up to that Taker Kane fight, the first match. Have Kane is like the Michael Myers dragging Paul Bearer out onto the stage, and like Undertaker's in the room because he's have him like tombstone Paul Bearer and do the hands up, and then the fire stage blows up. It looks like Paul Bearer just got blown up in Kane fire. That's that. Now you're like, oh, Kane is a psychopath. Like Kane is gonna kill him. Like he just killed Paul Bearer.
So Paul Bearer is basically Donald Pleasance in the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And because Undertaker is Jamie Lee Curtis in that situation. But I mean, it worked because I don't know, like Kane advocate. I love this idea of like Kane having to stand there by himself and not say anything. Yeah. Because I guess they're like, well, he has to be able to do a promo, right? That's Vince, right? Saying that. But it's like, I don't know. I never really liked Paul Bearer Kane promos. He looked better with the dark mustache and the urn and
the pale makeup.
Yeah.
It made zero sense because Paul Bearer in his promo, which I was falling in and out of sleep of, he was all like, Kane could never play basketball. He couldn't go out and swim in the pool. He wanted to be you, Undertaker. I'm like, Weren't you managing the Undertaker this whole time?
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about?
What's the deal with that? Then if that's the case,
when were you sitting with Kane while you and Undertaker were actually out on the road doing all the work?
Yeah,
I don't get
the
it.
timeline doesn't make any sense.
I really don't get it. Yeah,
like that just it doesn't like. It's not Kane and Taker is not the feature tonight.
No,
you're taking away from your two big main event matches. I don't know, but
yeah, no. Exactly.
Another fuck up from Vince Russo. That's all I can say to that.
It is. So,
what's next?
At the beginning of the pay-per-view, Jim Ross quipped very quickly that there were 2 matches that were added last minute to this pay-per-view.
Yep.
We had already seen one, and that was the Taka Headbangers versus Kai Tai 6-man. This is the other. This is for the WWF World Tag Team Championships. It is the New Age Outlaws, who are the champions at the time. They come to the ring with China versus the New Midnight Express.
Yep.
With Jim Cornette.
And the members of the Midnight Express are Bob Holly, who's not hardcore yet.
No.
And Bart Gunn, who is Billy's brother, but is now branched off to be part of this Midnight Express tag team. And they're actually the NWA World Tag Team Champions.
And this is literally the last match we see of them as a tag team unit. The week later, it's the start of Brawl for All tournament, and Vince Russo, in his clever booking, decides to book Bombastic Bob versus Bodacious Bart in the first round. And of course, Bart Gunn goes on and wins the Brawl for All tournament and kind of gets launched off into that whole thing into WrestleMania the following year with Butterbean and that whole deal.
That's a launch? That's not a launch. He wins the Brawl for All tournament.
It's
and
an
gets
accidental deal. Yes.
Yes. Oh God.
That's a whole different podcast we can have one day. Is the Brawl for All and the entire fuck ups that happened and everything with that, because the guy who won the Brawl for All shouldn't have won the Brawl for All.
No. Now that being said, this is what should have been tag team champion versus tag team champions match.
Yes.
Apparently is just hey, stick it on the end of this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It's a useless piece of shit. Let's just throw it in there. Like, are you kidding me? Why shouldn't this have been a higher hyped up match?
The match the Monday before should have been the match in this slot. The Monday before, the Outlaws had just defended their gold against LOD 2000 and the DOA in a triple threat match on that past Monday's Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, that could have been on the pay-per-view.
That should have been on the pay-per-view.
This just comes out of left field.
So, yeah.
This comes out of absolutely nowhere. It's a decent match for what it is, but it's like, this is a tag-on match? You just slap this on the pay-per-view for no reason?
Last minute to try to get it to time, basically.
Ugh.
It's 8 minutes and 29 seconds, and of course, Outlaws win.
It deserved better. It completely felt out of place. You can clearly see the New Age Outlaws were a more popular part of DX as opposed to X-Pac. And the crowd did not buy whatsoever the Midnight Express.
Yeah, I think it's funny because like I come in and you have all this other context to the match that I didn't have, and like I thought this was a good tag match, and I thought because I got it about 10 minutes. I thought maybe there was something that was cut in one of those versions. I think it was a little bit longer. I'm wondering if they cut a segment because I timed it. I wonder. I had 9:34.
Yeah, that's the runtime I got here too from Wikipedia. Wikipedia says 9:34. So
okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, knowing that now, it's like I guess it didn't really serve much, and that's the bigger context of wrestling, because wrestling, much like how I run my LARP games and stuff like that, it's all about the story.
Yes,
the story is the most important thing. It's like nobody ever wins at LARP. You have to. It's about how the story continues.
Yeah.
If you show up and you're like, I want to win today, it's like you're not going to. Like it's not.
It'd be a pretty lousy return game if all of a sudden one guy wins. It's like okay, well, LARP's over.
You won. The game's over. There's no more. But it's like it's how the story wins. And yes, at the end of games, like you might feel like you've lost or you might feel like you've won, but it's like it's setting up for something else. And I think that's why matches can fall flat, because like not knowing the context, I'm like, this is a decent match. Give it a 6 out of 10 for a match. Yeah. Good tag match. The Outlaws are good workers. And I mean, I think Bart Gunn. I thought he was a good wrestler. I think Bob Harley is a good wrestler, and it was just I don't know. I think it was kind of a flat match, and not knowing that this was kind of out of place. Like now, this is like, yeah, it's like why was this even on the card?
Yeah,
exactly. And with this match, the crowd has gone from like hype in the beginning, and they have just died and died and died slowly. And this match is like the crowd was completely dead.
Mm.
And I think the redemption factor is the next 3 matches.
Absolutely.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Let's get to it.
This is it. This is the redemption arc of the pay-per-view we're getting into now. So this first one, we got the finals now set. It is the King of the Ring 1998 finals between The Rock and Ken Shamrock, 1-on-1. This contest runs 14 minutes and 9 seconds. And this is one of multiple times that these two have fought or met in 1998. Most notably, like I said, at the Royal Rumble, they went 1-on-1 with The Rock retaining the Intercontinental title at the time due to a Ken Shamrock disqualification, because they were trying to get over this whole thing that, okay, he snaps and he's uncontrollable. That's it. Again, Vince Russo thing, whatever. But yeah, this contest here, great wrestling. It's amazing how The Rock can hang with Ken Shamrock in the ring, even as young as he is in this thing. He looks like he's been a 10-year veteran at this point in there with Ken Shamrock. And they kept it amateur for a good 3 or 4 minutes in this thing. This is just, it's good. And the crowd is into it, which is great. So
this was easily match of the night.
Definitely, for sure.
This was a great match. I mean, it really, like, I mean, people always say like, wow, I mean, you know, The Rock is he's more of like he had like a look guy, and he did play football in college and blah blah blah. Yes, his dad was Rocky Johnson. Yes, he's from the Maivia family, but like, is he actually that good of a worker in terms of a talent? I'm like, this is the kind of match that absolutely makes him worth his salt, and why he was booked the way he was going forward, and why he became the main eventer we all know was this kind of a match here. And Shamrock, I think Shamrock even has talked about how like being with Rock, I think he had issues maybe personally, but he said in the ring, like, he's like, yeah, I saw why they did what they were doing with him.
That's right. Yeah,
he earned his respect and stuff here. So like, this was a good match, good final. A couple of good false finishes, and then the submission, obviously.
The ankle lock, yeah. The only thing that I think that takes away from this match, surprisingly, because he was so entertaining at the time anyway, Triple H on commentary.
Absolutely. You nailed it.
Yeah,
that's it.
No, he was not entertaining ever. I'm sorry. That's people looking back with like hindsight and rosy blue glasses on, but
I think if you have
always sucked. I knew it back then.
Yeah,
it is still evidence. There's still evidence of it now.
Yeah,
he was so awful on commentary. What is it? China started speaking with the Spanish commentary. I was like, what the hell? She knows Spanish? He's like, yeah, they're probably talking about Taco Bell over there. What the fuck are you? What is wrong with you?
Yeah,
how would you say that?
If that's the case, what they should have done is switch the audio feed for a few seconds and have China talk Spanish.
They did, and then they went back to Triple H.
Oh, they did, right?
Making fun of them for Taco Bell.
Yeah.
That was maybe a product placement. Like, I think Triple H was kind of sneaking that in there, like, haha, it's topical, and they're also a sponsor for this.
I wish, but they were not a sponsor this night. It was Super Soaker.
Super Soaker, okay.
Yeah, it was Super Soaker, and nobody came out with a Super Soaker.
Triple H comes up with one of the worst lines I've ever heard on accident, which was something like, I'm by a lot of things, but lingual is not one of them.
Yeah.
Wait, did I come out the way I thought it would? I was like, oh, you fucking idiot.
I am the gamer, and I'm very bad at commentary.
We didn't need Triple H and them on China on commentary during this thing. Definitely.
But again, they have their own entrance. They come up with the DX theme song and everything, and this actually got the pop from the crowd.
Yeah.
Is that theme song. And those memories of DX when it was Shawn and Triple H.
Yeah.
And now it's become the Triple H version of DX. And this is also China's third appearance of the night, as she's come up with every rendition of DX so far.
Yes. That's
good Lord, he's just awful. Triple H fucking sucks.
He does take away a lot from this match. I do find, yes, but
He's
if
fucking
you're
terrible.
And this was the Triple H only version of DX, right? Because Sean was already on rehab at this point.
Sean's out of the picture right now.
This is Triple H, China, X-Pac, New Age Outlaws.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Makes sense.
So,
and most of them suck. It's true.
It's again build for the Rocky Triple H feud that's upcoming over the summer. So, but yeah, not needed on commentary at all, in my opinion. Like I said, I like this match. I find the one at the Rumble better, just because it's. I think it's. I'm not sure if it's about the same length or something like that, but I think that the whole stipulation around Shamrock winning and then getting the decision reversed because he goes back to the ankle lock on Rock in the middle of the ring and they flip the decision around. I've always kind of thought that, that's a controversial finish. Yes, that's what I want to see with my wrestling is some controversy from time to time. And I thought that it was a nicer mix in that one. But this one is very good. And this one, match of the night, definitely. And you can tell, like, Shamrock, I hope that whatever is between him and the WWE gets resolved over the next few years. I don't see whatever reason it wouldn't, and he gets a proper Hall of Fame nod, because I think he's done enough to go into the Hall of Fame. Like, honestly, the dude wrestled his last competitive match last year and still looked good. So there we go. Ooh. Not in WWE, but for Impact. But, he still looked fairly snug in the ring. So,
yeah, I guess we could put him in the Hall of Fame. I mean,
he's not a headliner, but he's definitely a support name that you could throw in there.
Here's the thing: if Coco Beware can be in the Hall of Fame, anybody can be in the Hall of Fame.
That's why exactly. So, I think you could put him in there, and not a whole lot of people would look twice with his name in there. Be like, yeah, cool, Ken Shamrock, the man,
All right, let's go to this next match, because this is where the pay-per-view turns.
Does it ever take a turn here?
Yeah.
And man, does this? It's such an infamous moment. This match is an infamous moment. It is the legendary Hell in a Cell contest between The Undertaker and Mankind, which, in hindsight, the way it was booked into this thing does really feel like a last-minute booking, because over like the last couple weeks on Raw, you just barely see Taker and Mankind get involved with the Kane Stone Cold Steve Austin thing as well at the same time. And that video package prior to this kind of reflects that. The runtime on this is, 17 minutes or so. And yeah, it's the career. Do we say it's a career making moment for Mick Foley? Good or bad?
Yes, absolutely.
It has to be
mainstream career, I'd say, because at this point he had already been a legend in ECW as Cactus Jack, and his work around as well. But this was the one. I think this kind of was like that first time where people were like, "Oh, he should get a chance to win the championship. Like, he needs it. Like, he gets it. He should be a main eventer." This absolutely solidified him as the hardcore legend.
What's your thoughts on this thing through 2023 eyes today? Like, would you have, if this happened on a pay-per-view, say tonight, what do you think the outroaring and backlash and everything would be online? Because I think Twitter would be very, very much alive over this one. We'll put it that way.
Well, I remember when Shane did the dive off the cage at the WrestleMania, people were like, "Oh!" Like, I remember Twitter blowing up around that. I didn't watch that pay-per-view. Right? I don't order them myself anymore. But you've seen it. But I saw that. Like, when that happened, I knew about it because Twitter was telling me. People on Twitter were just like, "Oh!" And like everybody was sharing the clip of him doing it.
Yeah.
So I saw the moment happen, and I was just like, "Oh wow." That's very special. But I mean, I did actually, because I've obviously seen this match before. It was on the Undertaker DVD that I mentioned before.
Yeah.
But the one that it really, I sat upstairs. I watched it on my Xbox, And I called my wife. I was like, you should watch this. I'm watching these wrestling matches. And she's like, okay. And so my wife never watched wrestling. She has no idea. And so she comes and she sits down and she watches. She's like, oh, you like that? That's the Undertaker. That's the guy you like. I'm like, yes, that's him. And then she's like, oh, okay. And so she said, and she's watching, and like as it unfolds, like, and I was just like, and I'm like a kid, the guy that's like just trying to set it up. I'm like, what? Watch this here. Watch this. and so like when he flies off the top of the cell, and she goes, oh my god. Like what? Like, and like just seeing her like have that first reaction to it, because she has no idea. And then like and then like when they did the stretch, and she's like, is he actually okay? And I was like, he had a bad concussion. Yeah. Like he was kind of
separated shoulder too after
separated his shoulder off the cage dive.
Yeah.
Right. So he had the separated shoulder and he was concussed. And she's like, oh my God. And then like when he gets off the fucking stretcher, and she's like, this is stupid. Like, why is he? And then she's like, he's going back up again. And I was like, wait.
The best is yet to come.
And then he grabs him, and then like he comes through, and he's just like, oh, and then the Lawler with that line. It's so good. The way, like, it's almost like he's throwing his hands up like this.
That's it. He's dead.
That's it. He's dead.
He's dead. He's dead. And she's just like, oh, and then the tooth. I like watch the shot, and it's when he turns his head and he's got that sick smile.
He's smiling.
He's smiling, and he's
smiling
because he knows in this photo what Foley is thinking is he's like, top that WC fucking W.
That's right. Yeah,
like he's like,
the ratings war is over at this point. Yeah,
that's what he's thinking.
Or he's probably like, pretty lights here.
Yeah,
because he's probably doesn't know where he is.
Actually, I think he's probably got that broadcasting test pattern going through his mind right now.
That's exactly. Yeah.
But just seeing him go through that gate, and when he hit, and then the tooth, and like she's just like, she sees it, and she's just like, oh, the tooth, and she like turned away. She was like not watching. I was just like, that was the moment. I'm like, just seeing her watch it, I'm like, it's still to this day, someone who's never seen that, like, that still gets them going, oh God, what? Like, no way. How
did she react to the thumbtacks? Because I always forget that happened.
Yeah, the thumbtacks happened. I honestly thought I thought like Undertaker jumps down, and then Terry Funk looking like a dad in his Air Monarchs.
Love it. Love it.
Terry Funk just got choke slammed out of his shoes. He's like,
well,
what?
And the lore of the whole thing is Terry was the guy who told Mick and Undertaker, why don't you guys start it on top of the cage? So it was his grand idea for them to start on top of the cage with it, because they were looking for something different to make this thing, bigger and better. And Mick knew that he wouldn't be able to pull off the same stuff that Shawn had pulled off in 97 at Bad Blood, right? The more athletic, basically Super Bowl, get his ass kicked for 20 minutes type thing until Kane shows up, right? So
yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And I know, but that when the tax came out, because I thought the match ended right away, but I was like, oh no, they go for like another 10 minutes.
Oh, they have a good fight after.
Yeah, and I'm like looking at Mick Foley, and I was just like, I thought he was like barely standing, and they like pinned him, and he was like, good, right? But I was like, no, he had a full match after. He had a full match.
Yep.
And then when he pulls up the thumbtacks, he hits him not once but twice into the fucking thumbtacks. I'm just like, oh my God. I was like, I forgot how brutal this match is. Like, my wife was like, I don't understand why you like wrestling. And I was like, I probably showed you the worst first match to show you. I should have showed you Stone Cold versus Rock at WrestleMania, whatever.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, it's 19 or 17 or something like that.
17, but like I was like, no, this is what made WWE say to ECW, like, y'all aren't the only ones that can do extreme.
That's right. Yeah,
you got guys smashing each other with light tubes and ECW, but you don't have guys jumping off of 15-foot cages, not yet. New Jack throws people off of towers, but I mean,
against their will.
Against their will.
Yes.
But I mean, like, I was like, you guys don't have that yet, so. But I mean, that was what else can you say about this match? I mean, the fact that he got because one of the things I was going to go into when I knew we were doing this pay-per-view was I was going to watch it again and be like, you know what? I wish they could have done something more. I mean, yes, the great big stunts, but they didn't do anything after it. But when I watched it again, I was like, oh shit, there's another.
You see a reason why?
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, they did everything. This match is like, it's got extreme, it's got great work, and it ends perfect. And I mean, it really makes the Undertaker look like the Undertaker.
Yeah.
It makes his character doesn't like the only other person that could have gone away with that in that match was Kane.
Yeah.
Yes.
At that time.
There we go. Yeah.
But I mean, but this solidified because at this point he was still kind of doing the Ministry of Darkness.
Yeah.
Or was that yet to come?
And that's yet to come, but Taker is starting to show he's moving less away from being a babyface here and kind of more tweener than anything else.
Yeah.
Like you can tell that he's thinking about potentially changing the attitude he has just because of the wars with Kane and stuff like that, and maybe and the fact that this Austin guy pushes the edge a little bit, so maybe I should too, to be considered in the hunt for the title, right? So it's the Ministry is yet to come. That's early '99 when all that kind of hits and really becomes a thing. But yeah, this is kind of the in the aftermath, and this is another thing too. What this does for Taker's build for the rest of the summer is there's a guy that becomes a mad dog killer. Like this dude threw Mick Foley from the top of the cell and tried to legit kill him in a match. Like, what is that? You're 12 years old. You see that. You're like, okay, I am never sleeping again if this dude is in my town. Like, I am not,
He's going to come and throw me off the top of a cage.
Exactly. Undertaker's going to show up at midnight and kick your ass or something like that, right? So it's scary stuff.
Take your soul.
Yeah, exactly. And you legit think he's an undead zombie or he's, Satan worshiper or something like that, right? But it's just wow, like the feeder of mind through this, and just the absolute feeder of this whole deal is incredible. And the fact that to this day I still don't understand that, okay, if they have the idea of starting on top of the cage, did they not go to talk to somebody that in the equipment truck or whatever, said, hey, we're going to start the match on top of the cage. Can you at least make sure that thing is reinforced so that two big people can, stay up there and do some spots?
Funny enough, wasn't Kane and Stone Cold on top of that cell on the Raw?
The week before too, yes.
Exactly. Yeah. And they didn't fall through.
They did not fall through. No. The end of that week's Monday Night Raw is a big schmoz with all four men on top of the cage fighting. Yes.
Exactly. And it didn't go through that time, but somehow this time when they went for that choke slam, Mick Foley went right through that sumbitch panel.
That's a trap door. That's all it is.
What was the original? Because Foley is talked about that. It wasn't like it was all supposed to drop. Like he was supposed to hit, and then it was going to drop.
Yeah, I mean, I think the initial thing was the throw off of the top of the cage. I think they had, believe it or not, that was planned. Yeah, he was thinking that there was going to be padding and stuff underneath the announce table. No, he was going to go right through that's right. He said he figured that the announce table was set up just enough that it would break his fall and that he would be, have some bumps and bruises, but he would be fine off of that. But he didn't anticipate, the fact that he at whatever his weight was, 270 or whatever it was,
310.
310. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Build weight was 270, but whatever. I understand. It's all good.
JR kept saying it. They were both over 300 pounders on the top of that cell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a heavier object is going to accrue more speed flying through the air than a lighter object.
Yes.
So that's what had happened. So he goes through the table and, blows everything up, blows up his shoulder, the whole deal, that stuff. So yeah, that's not good. But the belief is that the top of the cage was in the same condition that it was on Monday, and they were doing spots on top of the cage that previous Monday. Right. So they knew what was going on. So yeah, he was just supposed to take a choke slam on that and just be on the cage like, like that, choke slam on the cage, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if there was supposed to be a trap door or something like that or whatever, but I think the initial, this thing just swung open like, the breeze catching your screen door as a kid and flying that thing open, and
a chair falling down on him as he hits the ground.
Yeah,
which was kind of like the cherry on top of the sundae. I find it's like the ultimate Hans Moleman gets kicked in the, takes the football in the groin moment, and then all of a sudden,
Oink.
Yeah, well, as he falls over, he breaks his glass. It's like, oh,
I do think there was supposed to be a top of the cage spot though, with because Undertaker. I definitely saw Undertaker talk about that.
Yeah,
how he was like the slam was supposed to happen, but all 4 corners were going to go. Because Mick was still going to go through, but he's like, you take the fall on the cage, and you stay tucked, and then when you hit the mat, boom, now you break fall again.
Yeah.
He said the way that it went, only 2 opened, so the door swung open, and he said
the entire thing didn't unhinge. Yeah. It was just the first 2. Yeah. And also the fact that walking along it prior to Mick getting tossed off the top of the cage, you had little fasteners and that stuff all of a sudden flying up out of nowhere.
Yeah, things were like popping off.
Yeah, they held that can't be a good sign.
They held that roof together with zip ties.
They did. Yep.
That was ridiculous.
And as we all know, holding something together with zip ties is the 110% way to make sure it is secured. Bar none.
Yeah. Especially when it's chain link fence. And people will be walking on top of it because it's the roof of a cell.
It's like holding your car together with duct tape. Ain't nothing can happen.
Now, all I got to say about this match was watching this again, it's like watching a piece of history.
Yes.
Like wrestling would never be the same after that point.
This is wrestling in 1998. This is the peak of it right
No,
there.
this is the peak of everything, Attitude Era and everything. Yeah. Nothing would ever be as violent as what happens in this match ever again.
Yep.
No human, no wrestler would be put into that much physical danger and harm on purpose ever again to that level. Everything in wrestling changed at this moment. It's kind of funny. Sometimes you can watch pieces of history and you're like, holy shit, the world actually changed after this thing. Like you go back on YouTube and you watch the first time Michael Jackson does the moonwalk.
Yeah.
Life changes after. Because entertainment, music, everything changes after he does the very first moonwalk.
So the King of so the Hell in a Cell, the King of the Ring 1998 is Pro Wrestling's Zapruder film. I get it.
Is Pro Wrestling's what?
Zapruder film.
What is that?
JFK assassination.
There you go.
It's the amateur movie that the dude is shooting while
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Getting assassinated, right?
Those are those moments that you can watch and go back and watch. You're like, holy shit, the world changed after that. And in case of entertainment, the world changes after this match. And you get to see this history, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, because Vince said to Mick after this match, right? He's like, I will never not thank you for what you just did out there.
Yes.
Thank you. But he said you're not doing that again.
Yeah. You never do that again.
That happen again.
And the rest of the attitude. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say because Vince is also at ringside because McMahon said in a commentary. I remember watching a clip and he genuinely was he knew that he was responsive and that he was okay after the cage, but still injured. But when the guy actually, the kid that you can hear it on the pay-per-view, the guy goes, "You got ratings now, McMahon," right? Yeah. When he said that to him, but Vince was genuinely kind of he's like, damn straight I do, but also did I just cost this guy a career kind of thing? And is that money? This is going to be huge now, but will this be oh, Vince McMahon did literally put a man's career down the toilet just to get the rating that he needed.
Yeah, basically this was the embodiment of how far can we go? Okay, that's too far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, okay, now we know the limit. That right there is too far. So we can go up to that, but never there again. And that's what all the Attitude Era was. How far can we get back to the Hell in the Cell without actually having that result ever again?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Let's go right up to the line, but let's try to not cross it.
Yeah. But this is the night they found out where they crossed the line.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. And it happens in every major promotion's history. You know, I don't think it's happened yet in AEW, but it probably will happen one time or another. But anyway,
okay, but
it's happened in it happened in ECW, it happened in WWE with this. Come to figure, did WCW really cross the line anywhere? Oh, maybe they did.
And it's the same mistake that AEW is going to make, is they don't know where the line is because people don't care enough.
Yeah, but you know what I mean with ECW, they crossed the line, you know, dozens of times.
Right, but do you know where they finally crossed the line?
I could try and pinpoint a moment, but they're too numerous, so go ahead.
The pinpoint moment is the barbed wire match between Terry Funk and Sabu.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'll say that.
That's when Paul Heyman said, okay, that's the line. We cannot cross it ever again.
I thought you were going to say the mass transit incident because that was another deal, but
no, but that's just behind the scenes and security.
Yeah,
being idiots.
Yeah.
Is that the one where Sabu does like the moonsault off the sign or whatever?
No,
that's Monday Night Raw when they came in off the. They came off.
No, Raw. The one I'm talking about is Terry Funk and Sabu have a match where they replace the ropes with 3 things of barbed wire.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was officially too far.
Yes. Yep. For sure.
Wasn't one of them like recently, like where like they said, okay, that might have went a little bit far, was when they had like the death match between what's his name? Oh God. I'm not gonna know their names. The guy, he's in Scream. He's
okay. So the Nick Gage, David Arquette thing.
Nick Gage, David Arquette.
That doesn't count because that was in some like backroom bar.
That was an independent show out in, I want to say California, I think, or something. Yeah, it was a GCW show anyway, but it was
GCW doesn't count, so
yeah,
fuck them.
Yeah, it's just independent wrestling, but yeah, it was basically Nick Gage taking liberties with Arquette, and Arquette wanted to work a deathmatch style, and so they put him in there with a seasoned deathmatch guy, and that's what they got. So
fucking idiots.
You know,
yeah,
that's all it was. Yeah.
If I was a pro wrestler, I'd be like, cool, yeah, I'll do the bumps and I'll bleed and stuff like that for a certain match. Like if I get in the chair, but it's like, hey, do you want to go in there with a guy that's going to use a pizza cutter on your face? No. No, I'm not going to go in there.
What person in their right mind does that?
Apparently Chris Jericho.
Like, let's go pizza cutter. You know.
Apparently Chris Jericho, because after that match happened between Arquette and Nick Gage gets a shot at Chris Jericho live on AEW. He uses the pizza cutter on him, and then they cut to a Domino's pizza commercial. It is one of the worst.
That was a work deal.
The only thing that could have been better is that's a work deal. And then they cut to a Domino's commercial, and then at the end of the Domino's commercial, it just cuts back to like a replay of Jericho with the pizza cutter on his face. The
only thing that would be kind of a little bit more tasteless than weird would be if they played that Burger King Whopper commercial after Jerry the King Lawler had his heart attack on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, yeah, that would have been
Whopper. Oh man.
I'm actually glad you made that joke because sometimes you never know. If
Somebody had to.
No, it's like these days you never know if people have seen the commercial because some people have TV and some people just stream everything. So you don't know if anyone's actually seen the commercial, and I'm glad you brought up the Whopper.
If you watch any sort of sports on Fox,
you'll
see it.
You will see the Whopper commercial.
NASCAR, freaking NFL,
hockey,
baseball, you name it. They just run the hell out of that on
Should
Fox.
We run to the main event?
We should run to the main event, yes. Believe it or not, that was not the last match on the show.
Somehow not the last time we'll see Mick Foley. Good Lord.
I know, which is weird. So we go ahead into the main event slot. It is the First Blood match, the aforementioned First Blood match. It is the champion Stone Cold Steve Austin taking on the challenger Kane. First Blood rules, so the first person to get busted open loses.
Sort of.
And as if it hasn't been beaten over our head enough already in the first half of the show, if Kane loses this contest, he sets himself on fire.
I will set myself on fire.
Yeah, I love how he just has like this sick guitar solo. In
Yeah.
the middle. I'm like, Peter Frampton. What the hell?
What do we think of this era of Kane?
This is
Like,
Kane.
This is Kane. This is what
This
you think
is
of.
Kane.
This is Kane. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a classic Kane. All right.
I
yeah.
like
Because you know,
I like the 2000 Kane where he came back with just like the fire shirt, fire shirt, and then the fucking mask.
Yeah.
Because like he
and
was
it
like,
was somewhat see-through down the middle.
yeah, he's kind of like peak. He was like peak Jack Kane. Like he was huge.
It was golf club Kane for a bit.
That's
Exactly.
true. No,
But yeah,
to
this
me,
version of Kane is this. Yeah, this is the Kane.
yeah,
Yes.
to me, this is Kane, including like the man that scared the shit out of me as a kid when they did the thing where it rained blood on top of Austin.
This is in the
And-
build to this. Yes, I think
Right, it
we've
was
seen
in
a
the
clip
build
of
to
it in the
this.
lead up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do the whole carry blood drop thing on top of
Yeah.
Stone Cold, and then Kane with his what do you call that thing? Voice changing.
The voice box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Austin. The blood on you will be for real. I'm like, oh my god, that's some scary shit when I was a kid.
Yeah.
What was the name of the South Park character that had that?
Ned.
That voice box.
Yeah.
Ned.
The red.
It was Ned. Yeah. What's his name's uncle's friend, right?
Stan's
Yeah.
uncle's friend, Ned.
Stan's
No.
uncle's friend's Ned. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ned.
Yeah. The Vietnam veteran or whatever it was.
It's coming right for us.
Yeah, exactly. I think we should shoot it. Yeah, exactly.
What's funny enough is that like Kane was so scary with the voice box thing until that episode of South Park came out. I'm like, god damn it, they ruined
Yeah.
it.
And then I think that's when I think that's when they just said screw it and they scrapped it. They
had
him
to.
talk.
Goddamn South Park ruined it.
Yeah, it is because I was like, voice box funny.
Well, and also like the voice box thing kind of got killed for me too, because I remember this is around the time I started watching, and one of the first ever promos I saw of The Rock is that one where The Rock comes out.
My name is Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like,
Hey,
Kane can talk. Finally, the big red retard can finally speak. I was like, I was just like, he's like, and you take that little voice box and you do this. It's his neck.
Yeah.
My name is Kane.
And then the crowd pops. Huge.
Yes.
Finish
Yeah.
it.
And he hits him
Finish
with the
it.
button, and then he goes, and I am a Woody Poo candy ass.
Yes.
And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
In that moment, I remember watching that promo, and I was just like, The Rock's not afraid of Kane. Damn, The Rock's not afraid of Kane.
No, he's not. He is not. Yeah. No, that's
That was some good
Classic.
nostalgia
Fire
right
coming
there.
out the ring post. Got fire coming out your ass. Fire coming out your ass. Coming out of the way.
yeah.
That was,
So-
that was one of the most classic Rock promos of all time.
So-
Holy shit.
Our boy Stone Cold is walking into this contest a little banged up. You guys noticed the oversized elbow pad on his
Yeah.
arm.
Yeah, the CM Punk style staff.
Staph
infection elbow
full-blown
pad.
staph infection at the time, for sure.
Oh.
He
Yep.
ironically worked a house show the weekend before in Edmonton, Alberta. So in our home area, the weekend before. And they think that's where it had started. That is the first sight of him working with a elbow pad, at least. And then through that month, that go home Monday Night Raw, he has it on. He has it on here, and then the next night on Monday Night Raw, he also has it on. And then they just decide to give him some time off to let him heal it for a couple of weeks, and then he comes back, right? So
I love how he comes out to this match and just like instant just throws the belt down, just Lutez press onto Kane.
Yeah.
Just starts beating the shit out of him. I remember because again, I'm watching this with my wife, who she's like, "This is the guy you really like too, right?" Stone Cold. I'm like, yeah, and she's like, "Why? He looks stupid."
What?
And I'm just like, she's like, he's bald, he looks weird, his head looks funny or whatever. And I was like, what? And so he ran out and he just jumps on Kane. I'm like, this is why I love Stone Cold. Beat the shit out of this guy. And I was like, he starts like flipping him off and like stomping on him.
Yeah.
I was like, that's why I love Stone Cold.
Yeah.
He's a savage.
Yeah. She's awesome. Exactly.
Exactly.
Right.
Did you get it after that?
She she was kind of like, I don't understand. I don't know. Well, she said, and one of the things I was good, she's like, how is he going to cut that guy open? He's got a mask on that's like protecting his face. I'm like,
point.
yeah, that's a good point.
That is a good, yeah.
It kind of is one of the reasons why people are like, Kane's going to win this, isn't it?
Yes. It's a thing that McMahon has stacked the odds once again, and the odds are a little bit larger here and that stuff. And well, the runtime for this thing is 15:56. So just double check that, make sure that's correct. I believe so. Oh, sorry, 15:58. And yeah, that's what happens is some fuckery towards the end, and we have
the cage lowers and then it goes back up and it comes back down again.
Yeah,
Was that intentional?
Yeah,
I
because
think so.
it's screwed up this with Russo and booking and stuff.
Oh my god!
So
I thought that was
it makes no sense.
That was weird to me. It just made it look like the match was like foobarred, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh shit, the cane's coming down. Like there's people in the back like fuck, and Vince is like, why the fuck is the cage going down? Like it didn't make it look like I'm like this is part of the match. Like maybe do something where like Kane like beckons the mat like the cage to come down, or something like that. Like do something with it instead of it making it look like they're like, well, we're just gonna keep fighting even though this cage is coming down on us.
Actually, you're right. That was a very big thread throughout the commentary through this night, which was, who the hell's controlling this? What the hell's going on? Who signs the checks around here?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Jared was just at a loss for what the hell is happening to our company throughout this entire night.
Here's the whole finish, and credit to classicwrestlingreview.com for a write-up of this, because man, trying to figure out all of this in the final minutes of the pay-per-view was something. Stone Cold rams Kane into the exposed buckle and takes him to the floor. They fight onto the announce table. Austin hits Kane with a fan, the blowing kind, not a spectator.
Correct.
Made that clear. However, Kane shoves Austin into Earl Hebner. He's unconscious as Kane and Austin enter the ring again. Kane nails a flying clothesline. Steve answers with more buckle shots. Meanwhile, the cell lowers once more. This is Mankind's cue to interfere. Yes, Mick Foley is still standing, and he waddles out to ringside with the chair, or limps, or whatever. He brings a chair, but Austin stuns him. So yes, in a three-quarters concussed state, Mick Foley can still take a better stunner than Vince McMahon. Figure that one out. When Stone Cold hits Kane with a stunner, Undertaker appears. He swings a chair at Mankind, but Mick ducks. Taker's weapon knocks Austin's chair into Steve's face, and that busts him open. Taker then dispatches Mankind, retrieves Hebner. He wakes Earl with the gasoline that's at ringside. So yes, he does douse the referee in gasoline. This is the
what
Undertaker.
the fuck was that?
To revive him, because apparently
to revive him.
But Kane sends Taker out of the ring. Even though Austin is bleeding, he continues attacking Kane. Austin whacks Kane in the head multiple times with a chair. It's too late. Hebner spots Austin's cut and calls for the bell in 15:58. And Kane is your new WWF champion. And the reign lasts exactly one night.
Right.
Because Austin gets it back on Raw. However,
the next night on Monday Night Raw, Austin gets the belt back.
But at the end of this night, everyone's like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, because this is the first time that the odds have been stacked against Austin, and Austin had not come out successful.
Yep. I still don't. He tried to wake up the referee with gasoline.
Yeah,
because nothing wakes you up in the morning like a 92 unleaded.
Well, it's just
usually people take the leaded to go to sleep permanently, but anyway.
I just like how even when they're coming out, there's just gas cans sitting at ringside.
Oh yeah,
they're just like all these chairs
just laying around the entirety of the night.
Oh yeah,
somebody's getting lit on fire tonight, boys. But like it is because like, and first of all, I hate when referees get knocked out. I know it's a spot. I know it's very common in pro wrestling, but like I mean, maybe Hebner is just not good at it. But like, he just gets knocked out. I'm like, oh fuck. Like I think what's the guy? Blonde hair dude. He was a referee. Is it?
Charles Robinson.
Like I remember him taking some bumps where I'm like, yeah, that looked like it would knock him out.
Yes.
And like he seemed to do a really good job on that because like referees, like to be a wrestling referee isn't just like, yeah, I'll learn like the rules and like you have to almost like be able to take bumps. You have to be almost a good wrestler yourself. Like you have to know what the hell you're doing in there, and you are actually very important in making sure that the wrestlers get the information and like you're communicating and.
In most wrestling schools, and that's in that vernacular, the referees are smaller wrestlers that take about the same amount of training as the wrestlers that will be on shows and that stuff and everything. But they're dressed as referees because there's something with their appearance that won't make them a very convincing wrestler, whether it's height, whether it's weight or something or whatever. But they have to be able to move as well as the talent in the ring, if not better, because you're counting and you have to drop to your knees and count free and that stuff and whatever. And then on top of that, you're the relay between what happens in the ring and whoever's producing the show back behind the curtain, because you have the earpiece in and that stuff, and you can say, "Oh, this dude's hurt. We're going home right now for the finish because he's blown out his knee or something like that." You know?
Yeah.
Or, "Oh, okay, we got 30 seconds left here. We got to wrap it up. Let's go, boys." You know?
Yeah, but I don't know, for whatever reason I was just like when refs get knocked out and it doesn't look convincing, which Hebner's getting knocked out here didn't, for whatever reason, to me did not look convincing. And then like the gas, like I was like, why are you pouring gas on him? Like grab him and shake him or something. Just like, why are you gonna? Why? I don't remember this part. Why is he trying to light Earl Hebner on fire? Like, if I win that title, I set the referee on.
I never said anything about me being set on fire.
But I don't know, like just the interference with Mankind, and here comes the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, this is silly. And then like Austin getting cracked by the Undertaker is the mistake shot, and then like he loses that way. He's like, I guess that's better than him just getting beat clean because they're trying to protect, the top baby face and the number one guy at the time in the company. But like, for me, I was just like, I don't know, like you could have done that in the sense where like, maybe it was Mankind that did. I mean, obviously 3/4 concussed and he wasn't not up to his full faculties, but like have it in a sense where like don't have Kane look like a complete dolt by getting like taken out and lying there, and then it's like that's the whole thing is like Austin's standing there and the referee just kind of and you're bleeding.
Hey, but don't you get it? He was caught red-handed.
Oh. That's the thing. I was just kind of like, I'm like, oh, that's weak sauce because Kane's literally lying there like completely out, and then like he's like, ding ding ding, you're winner and new WWF champion. I was like, oh, come on.
Is that not the third time we've had this happen to our watch-alongs? Where we have a shit finish where like Slaughter did it to Ultimate Warrior,
right?
Backlund did it to Hitman, and now we got Kane doing it to Stone Cold.
Yeah, about the only one that didn't have a shit finish was SummerSlam '92, which had other shit that was wrong with it.
Well, it had what's it, Macho and
Macho and Warrior, yeah, that BS.
That had a shit finish, so
yeah.
Like a better finish to this might have been like have Mankind come out because Mankind was going after Austin.
Have Mankind go to a hospital.
Yeah.
We're done with Mick.
Well, clearly, Mick was willing to go back out there. So I'm just saying, if he is willing,
I don't care. The man's got CTE at this point.
Well, he does, but I mean,
it's like, please, you got the rest of the night off. Take a week. Go to a hospital.
I'm just using the pieces that were on the board at the time. How I would use them in a finish in that situation is like at this
point substitute Mick out with the Stooges. The Stooges could do the same thing that Mick did in this thing, basically, because all he does is distraction and takes a stunner, So have Austin
or have Paul Bear go out there because it's his son Kane in the ring.
Yeah,
and Undertaker goes after Paul because they're at odds.
Yeah,
was gonna say you could have Mankind maybe like pull out the barbed wire bat or something and hit Austin with it.
We're
Oh my
we're
God,
talking
how
about a
much
dude
more
that's
shit?
3/4 concussed right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if his faculties are all there. You can tell him to do it. Whether he does it or not is going to be a different.
Yeah, convince
deal.
him to do that in the back when you got CTE ringing around in there. All right, Mick, go out there with this baseball bat. Mama. No, it's not gonna happen.
He's gonna be standing there just like, I see funny colors, you know what's going on.
I don't know. Put out, Rico or something.
Rico?
He's
He
not
wasn't
even
even in
with
the
the
business.
company then.
He wasn't even in the company.
Rico.
Gold Dust. I don't know.
Yeah, there you
No,
go.
Paul Bear would have been just fine.
Yeah.
And then I guess just have Austin get clocked by Kane or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, call the audible. If you call the audible, that's about it.
But
You're
Undertaker
good
in
to
the
go,
gas
so.
can was one of the stupidest moves I've seen logic-wise.
That makes zero sense to me.
But I still
Earl,
like this
get
does
up.
yeah, this does set up for what I mean. I guess you could say fittingly because it's like we just witnessed the Undertaker practically kill a guy.
Yeah.
So pouring gasoline on somebody.
So he's thirsty for some more.
Yeah, he wants a little more blood.
He just wants to kill people. This is
Pound
the
of
new
flesh.
character trait.
He wants more than a pound of flesh.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like maybe like have him go out and then and like I don't know because like it sets up for that next night on Raw where Austin gets that promo and he's like that big red son bitch didn't bust me open and then they have that match and everything. So I mean obviously the plan was to put it back on Austin right away.
Yes.
So maybe a legit Kane win would have actually sucked away more from him than anything.
Look, the whole thing was this is all Vince Russo's bullshit. The championship was just a prop at that time. If you could just lose it one night on a pay-per-view and win it right back on the Raw.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this was booked to be that way in the first place because Russo's a fucking idiot.
And if you want to see what happens when there's no governor to that belief, watch WCW in the year 2000 where the championship wasn't just a prop, it was a toy championship.
I was the governor.
Everybody.
I was the governor of Minnesota.
There we go.
So Russo? When did Russo leave WWE? Did he get fired?
He left for bigger money in WCW.
Yeah, he quit for bigger money. That was the fall of '99. I want to say, was it mid-September '99, something like that? Yeah.
And that's when things got better, and WCW started to die a slow death.
Well, I was gonna say because isn't this also like I think I watched an interview with Kevin Nash where he said that he's like I remember Scott and I came in to WCW for taping on Nitro the next night.
Yes.
And Kevin Sullivan was sitting there and just looked at them and goes, "Feel that, Nash?" He's like, "Water got a little cold last night." Because he was referring basically like you saw that what they just did. On
There's no way you can top that.
Like,
nobody could top that.
He's like, we're done. We're not doing that. And like, I mean, Paul Heyman kind of called it '96 when he's just like, you got Hogan in there who's like, who am I going to beat, brother?
Yeah.
And then
that's right. The Paul Heyman promo behind the scenes.
And it's just like, and it's just because it's like they couldn't, like they had the ability to maybe go toe to toe with WWF, and they couldn't.
They have the ability.
They have the talent. Yeah. Absolutely do.
But you have a bunch of guys like Ric Flair's 45, and he's just like, like I just want to go out there and be the man. Woo! And they're just like, we actually could have really booked you a lot better here, Rick.
We could, yes.
Sting could potentially your like he was your meal ticket, and he did still deliver, right up till the end. But then you also and that I think at this time isn't this also 98? Like this is Goldberg on the rise.
Goldberg is in the middle of his undefeated streak. Yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he's not quite world heavyweight champion yet, but it's coming. So,
but Nash is booking. Bischoff doesn't know what the fuck he's doing anyways, and he's just following Nash's lead. Hogan wants everything for himself. The old guys are now NWO running the show. Don't give a shit about the young guys unless they can make them any kind of money.
Yeah.
They get Bret Hart in '97 in the peak of his interest.
Right off of the most
Right off the screw
controversial
job.
moment in pro wrestling history, yes.
And they decide to just keep him stuffed in a corner because they don't want to be outshone by a better wrestler. I'm like, the amount of money that WCW squandered is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and didn't they have a guy like around 98, 99 that they thought they're like, you know what, if we would have booked him a lot better, he probably could have been the Austin of WCW. The German guy?
Oh, Alex Wright. Yeah.
Alex Wright.
No,
No.
seriously.
No.
That's been that has been brought up by was it on Bischoff's podcast? I can't remember, Craig.
If it was, that would make sense because Bischoff is a fucking idiot and so was Vince Russo. But Alex Wright,
but that's one of the
shit.
popular narratives that is out there, that if Wright wasn't saddled with a crap gimmick, he could have been, if not Austin, maybe somebody that would have been better than
Austin.
he got.
Off.
Not like he was an outlaw, kind of like Austin, but like he could have been a big star like Austin.
Yeah.
No, he couldn't have. At best, he could have been Cesaro.
Well, and also he could have also been Berlin at that point too, which is what he ended up becoming as well. You know,
that's what I mean. He would have. Oh God, they're so stupid.
You don't like the wrestling Nazi? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Borat. What was that?
And Macho Man and everybody was still on WCW at this time.
Yep.
Too.
Oh yes.
They were stacked for talent.
Yeah, they were. But the only thing that was going on is they ran into about a little bit of an injury bug in the middle of '98. So guys like Macho Man were out hurt, Piper was out hurt, stuff like that. So
because they kept doing nonsense and putting them like on top of cells and or on top of cages and saying, "Hey, jump."
Yeah.
50-year-old Hogan's gonna catch you, brother. No, he won't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and also like this was also like WCW was going crazy, like because that wasn't it in this time where like just Dennis Rodman showed up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is correct. This is 98. This is the last run of the Bulls, and Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone and Jay Leno are involved somehow in an NWO storyline involving
This is the
DDP.
summer of '98. Yes, this is what the summer of '98 looks like in WCW.
I just like the fact that Jay Leno would be in the NWO, just like yeah, too sweet.
No, he was on the WCW side.
He's pro WCW.
It's him and Malone.
Yeah.
Karl Malone, the mailman, against Rodman and Hogan, NWO.
Basically, yep.
It'd be like putting Mark Messier and Claude Lemieux around.
No, this is Jay Leno. At least those people are athletes.
Yes.
This is like Ryan Seacrest. Or goddamn Jimmy Fallon.
With Jimmy Fallon.
Conan O'Brien or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, Conan would be funny.
Conan would be really funny.
I guess, does that wrap it up for King of the Ring 98?
It might wrap it up for you. We got exclusive footage that we're going to tackle right now fairly quickly here.
What?
Yeah, the home video has exclusive footage. We know that because the little chyron pops up at the end and says exclusive footage. And well, it's not much.
Yeah.
It's basically just Austin stunning everybody in the ring and leaving to a huge ovation from the crowd.
Yes.
And and then it fades to black right after. But Austin legit stuns everybody. Like we're talking all the people that come out to help him, like all the agents and everything like that. I think he stuns Foley again for good measure. Believe it or not, Foley should be alone in a morgue somewhere at this point. And yet it's like, stop. He's already dead. And he sort of gets another stunner, and that's that. And yeah, that's the last thing I have written down in my notes here is how is Foley still standing? And then that's
the last thing written in my notes is that Vince McMahon is sitting in a skybox watching the main event, and Sable happens to be right next to him.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like there's
They
a man watching from above. Just
with Sable.
With Sable, yeah.
Didn't you just embarrass her and tell her to get the fuck out of the ring early on in the night? Why are you
his stooges did that. Yeah, I mean he kind of did verbally, but his stooges, with the sportsman on
that's
the
ridiculous.
end, but
stupid.
That's that. So, all right, it's rating time. It is rating time for this one. We have to give it out of 10. You guys go ahead and let me know what you got. Craig, you first.
I'm gonna go 7 out of 10 for the last 3 matches. The King of the Ring final was a good match, just for what it was. The Hell in a Cell is the Hell in a Cell, and I think despite maybe a weird finish, I think based on where they went with it afterwards, I think it was good enough to kind of earn that 7 spot. And then the beginning is kind of boring. Like those take, I could definitely see how the crowd was kind of like, you better be giving us something good, right? Because like I could have been one of those people who like bought a ticket to this show and left after the New Age Outlaws match, and then I missed Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
because I was like, you guys have really sucked the energy out of this building. But I still give it a 7 because they deliver at the end. Because there's that the if you watch GM mode on up down the match is supposed to the card is supposed to go up right at the top, and then it kind of goes down. And then boom at the end, and that's exactly what this pay-per-view was. It follows that perfect.
Exactly. I'll give it a 6 out of 10 myself. Again, I think that the first few matches really, it's a tale of 2 pay-per-views. It's a real draggy pace to begin with, and then right as we hit that King of the Ring finals, it starts to elevate up a bit, and then holy crap, it goes like, if I give the King of the Ring finals, I'd give that match singularly maybe like an 8 out of 10 or something like that. That Hell in a Cell, that's like 15, 20 out of 10 just for spectacleism right there. Like, I mean, it is just something you'll never see ever again in your life. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, because you never want to see a human body go through that. Like, Mick Foley, basically makes his career in one 5-minute segment there, and that's just insane bumps that he was taking off of the cage and through the cage and that stuff and everything. And in the Hell in a Cell match itself is a good microcosm of what WWF wrestling was like back then, with it's action, it's a good fight and that stuff, and then you're going to get fucked around with the finish because it is really, really screwy.
Do you mean the first blood match?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I'd give that one maybe like a 6.5, a 7 out of 10 towards the end there. And then just aggregating everything, crappy first half, but then a stronger second half. Obviously, give it a 6 out of 10. Be happy with it. TL, what did you think?
Man, this is really difficult for me to score because this has a moment that is pop culture history, and if you were to recommend it, you have to
watch that.
You have to watch it. So it's
you have to watch that.
On one side of this, because this is the ultimate recommendation. Yeah, it has to be a 10 out of 10. However, no, don't. But realistically, the pay-per-view is a 6 of 10. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know how to weigh this one.
Do you split the difference and just give it a number in the middle? Give it like a 7 or something? Or 6.8?
I don't know. I mean, this is tough for me to score. I guess my official score will be 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's what fair. The pay-per-view actually gets.
Yeah.
But in terms of recommendation-wise, this is a 10 of a 10. Mm-hmm. You have to recommend this to people to watch.
You do. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. This is on the Mount Rushmore of pay-per-views, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the moment that happens within it and the Hell in the Cell, there's no option. Mm-hmm. You can't bypass this one.
No. It's still to this day, and I've seen this pay-per-view a dozen, maybe 24 times in my lifetime. When we got up to that Hell in a Cell match, I felt the goosebumps on my body start to form because I know what's happening. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. This is when the shit gets real for a bit. And then I'm like, I feel undue pressure on myself. It's like, oh God, I got to talk about this. I hope justice, Yeah. like, oh my God, how the hell are we going to tackle this? And then it happens, and then it's like, wow, and then you remember little idiosyncrasies, like, holy shit, there's actually a pretty decent street fight between the two of them after,
after attempted murder.
Yeah, exactly. A decent street fight for like 15 minutes of this freaking thing, and it's like, oh man, it's unreal.
I do wonder who had worse concussion symptoms. Was it Mick Foley after that cage dive, or Paul Correa in 2003, and when he got laid out?
Yeah,
because I think both of them were like, when you see Paul Correa out, like if you go back and watch that clip when he is like, and then you see
he's out,
the visor into the right, and I'm like, oh, he's done. Like the
That's it. He's dead.
and then but like he comes back out and off the floor and on the board. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Great moment. Even though the Ducks ultimately lost the next game.
Yeah.
but I mean like still like that's what I thought when Foley's coming out in that because I watched this pay-per-view for that Hell in a Cell. I've never really watched that first blood match too much. So when he came out, when I'm watching it, I'm like, that's Paul Correa. That's his Paul Correa moment.
That's his Paul Correa moment.
But he's coming out again, and I'm like, there's no fucking way. The only thing that would have been better is if it would have been Austin Taker, but how would you have done that unless it was Kane Mankind in the Hell in a Cell and Kane throws him off, right? Because you could have maybe technically had Kane do exactly what Undertaker did in that match, and it would have worked. Absolutely perfectly, and then have Undertaker like in like having that expression of like, how are you still fucking alive? Coming out at me like, but I mean,
almost what he pulled with Brock Lesnar in that match at SummerSlam a few years ago when he sat up and Brock sat up at the same time and Brock started laughing and Taker just kind of did the sarcastic he
laughed right back at him.
Yeah, that was great.
Exactly.
It was one of those the reason you have to recommend this one. Like you have to watch.
Oh God, yes, absolutely.
You want Attitude Era pay-per-view? It's like this one or maybe WrestleMania X7. I don't know. Just
that's a fair judgment call. Yes, definitely. X7 is incredible. Yeah, it's widely considered one of the best pay-per-views ever. So this is really cool sitting down with you guys and taking a look at this for sure. I think now we can finally put the ask the Undertaker to rest in peace. So it goes away tonight again for sure. So final thoughts on this, guys. I think we kind of wrapped it all up there, but I'm
good with the go home unless Mr. Ventura has anything to say.
Yeah. Why would you think that I have something to say? I should have been on this card. At this time, I was living in the Baja. And I was learning how to grow dehydrated grapes to make wine that I could use to poison the daughter of the Sultan that I was trying to groom so I could become the Lord of the Middle East.
Mr. Ventura, aren't dehydrated grapes just raisins?
That's not what I said. You said that.
You said that. I didn't say that.
I was making raisin wine.
Raisin wine.
Raisin wine.
A raisin that has zero liquid in it, and you were going to make wine out of it somehow, Mr. Ventura.
Yeah, that's not what I said. I was making glossettes. I invented them.
Why don't you tell me what I said if you're such a patriot?
You're such a patriot. Well, I guess the government is always telling you the truth then.
That's right. Anything in closing, Alex Jones?
Explain Tower 7! Excuse me. I'm pissed. I'm getting pissed now. I'm getting pissed right.
That's it. We're done. That's it. It's over.
Explain Tower 7. Well, it was the tower between 6 and 8. There we go. That's why they call it 7.
They put bombs in the fucking tower! You're telling me they did this in the Senate? They said it in the Senate!
Yo, shut this down. It's over, man.
All right.
Get pissed.
Well, we'll get Fraser back in here. Your social media, if people want to follow you, Mr. Fraser, is
at Craig P. Fraser.
There we go.
You can try and follow me on Instagram. I don't care.
And you've got podcasts galore happening as well too. I know I've downloaded a couple of episodes of what you've got. I have to listen to them still. So
yes, the Not So Secret Diary, as always, as well as maybe a potential off-season episode of Fresh Horses is what I do with my brother and my dad, where we talk hockey, particularly the Leafs, and it's mostly just to hear my dad's boomer takes on the Leafs, which are great. We were one of the snippets we were doing was one of the episodes we were trying to figure out what did he? We were like, which Leaf defenseman has the most points as defenseman? I think it ended up being Boris Salming, but my dad goes Ian Turnbull, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? He's like, from the 70s. 70s, Ian Turnbull. You don't know? I'm like, who are you? Or what was the one I was talking about? I think it was Leafs goalies with points. Which Leaf goalie has the most
like assists or points or
yeah,
whatever?
most assists as a Leaf goalie. And I think it was the answer was I think it was Potvin. I think it was the cat. And my dad goes, "Oh, I know this." Right, and he stops, and then I'm thinking he's gonna say Cujo, he's gonna say the cat, he's gonna say Belfour, he's gonna say, and he goes Rick Wamsley, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? He played in like 16 games.
Yeah, and then they shipped him off to Calgary.
And I'm like, why did you pick him? Nobody was just like, you can handle the puck. You can handle the puck well. I'm like, that doesn't mean he gets assists. He gets 16 games, Dad.
He has to pass the puck to somebody who passes the puck to the goal scorer. That's the problem.
Yeah.
If your dad had said Peter Ing, I would have shit myself laughing.
That's right. Yeah,
Peter Ing.
Peter Ing, yeah.
Rick Wamsley.
Rick Wamsley, wow.
But it was also great too, because it was during the season, and we're like, all right, Dad, the Leafs. I was like, they lost to the Penguins tonight. It was a valiant effort. They won their past 2 games. He's like, they played like shit. Just cuts me off. And it was just like, I was crying so hard. We lost time, but I mean, yeah. So we might be doing one of those soon. And then also, I do a podcast with my wife called My Wife's Dreams, where she likes to regale me with stories of her dreams that are all usually hilarious.
Yeah.
So you can check all 3 of those out.
Right on. Cool stuff. He's gone, but I will pump his social media for him. You can follow Mr. TL at TM Loughton on Twitter. As he is opt to say, he wants to smoke. Give him the smoke all the time on anything, like we talked here, and so on and so forth. My Twitter, my Instagram, my everything is at Kellen Nitro. You can follow me anywhere. And that's basically it. So I think it's Ty's turn to pick the next show. So yes. We'll leave it. We'll leave it up to him. We'll see what he decides here and that stuff. I'm kind of a little bit concerned because you never can tell what he's faking at that point. He's got a little bit of the wild card, but
he has to pick a pay-per-view that we're all gonna like, or if he picks a pay-per-view that he's gonna get mad at,
yes,
that'll be the best, because he'll be like, if he gets loses his shit, I'll be like, you picked this, this was your choice.
Well, here's the thing: the most surprising thing that I have ever, and I've done dozens now at this point of podcasts with the dude and everything like that. The one thing, the most innocuous, smallest thing that I never thought that he would get upset at would be the Clowns versus Kings thing from the 94 Survivor Series thing. And go back and watch that episode or listen to it, folks, if you haven't had a chance to, because it's a full meltdown. The dude just unhinges. It's unreal.
It's great. We love that, though. We love that.
Oh, yes, he's great stuff.
Have that passion.
That's exactly so. All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next time here on the channel. I'm Kellen Nitro. Later days. Happy wrestling watching. All that good stuff. And we'll see you next time here on Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. Do take care.